What are you doing here? Asked the man in a tailored overcoat, standing amid scattered produce on the abandoned market floor. She jumped back, gripping the mop like a weapon. Just clean, she muttered, assuming he was from the health department. He tilted his head. I saw how you spoke to that man near the gate. He's from the head office, isn't he? I wasn't eavesdropping, she stammered. I was. He interrupted, not important. You were listening. That's rare. Then, just as quickly, he reached into his coat, dropped a card on a nearby crate, and walked away without a word more. No name. No company. Just a black rectangle and a time, Tuesday. 9 a.m. Floor 29. She stared at it for a long moment before slipping it into her pocket, her hands still trembling. That Tuesday, Mia stepped into the building's glass atrium and immediately felt she didn't belong. She had borrowed her cousin's blazer, 2 sizes too big. Security didn't stop her, because no one noticed her. She rode the elevator to floor 29, where the hallway was so quiet it felt padded. A woman with a clipboard opened a glass door. Name? I don't know, Mia admitted. Someone gave me this. She held up the blank card. The woman didn't flinch. He's expecting you. She stepped aside. Inside, the same man sat at the head of a long table with files stacked high. You came. I don't know why, Mia admitted. You heard things no one else did. What did you pick up? He asked sharply. Mia swallowed. That he was lying. About the factory numbers. He flinched when they mentioned the East District audit. The man didn't blink. Correct. That will be useful. 3 hours later, she walked out with a new pass, a non-disclosure agreement, and zero understanding of what she'd agreed to. Her first assignment, a warehouse in the industrial zone. Follow. Record. Don't interfere, the note said. That night, someone knocked on her apartment door. 3 times. Then silence. She didn't open it. The next morning, her building's entrance was blocked off with yellow tape. Someone had broken in. Her upstairs neighbor was gone. The old man who always walked his dog said only, first time since '06. Mia tightened her grip on the strap of her new satchel. She hadn't signed up for any of this. Or had she? The address led to a gray building that looked abandoned. No signs, no windows, just rusted shutters and silence. Mia checked her phone again, Warehouse 17. East Industrial Zone. 10 p.m. She arrived 10 minutes early. The street was empty. Only a single light flickered above a side entrance. She waited, unsure if she was being watched or forgotten. Then, click. The door unlatched. No one inside. Just a faint humming sound and the smell of burnt plastic. Mia stepped in, holding her breath. Inside was a cavernous space. Machines sat idle, covered in tarps. Empty crates lined the walls, and in the center of the room, a desk. Clean. Ordered. Out of place. She walked toward it. There, on the chair, lay a red folder with her name written in thick marker, MIA Vernon. Her pulse jumped. Inside the folder, photos. Blurry shots of her taking out trash. Sweeping the floor. Standing at the market gate. Dozens of angles. Someone had been watching her long before the man in the overcoat appeared. She dropped the folder as footsteps echoed behind her. A woman, mid-40s, sharp suit, deep red lipstick, stepped into the light. You shouldn't be here, she said calmly, then lit a cigarette. I was sent, Mia replied. No. You were bait. The woman stepped closer. You think this is about a job? That man who gave you the card, he has no office here. He hasn't had one for years. Mia froze. But, he knew things. He knew what I heard. He always knows. That's his trick, the woman said. He chooses people like you. Quiet. Invisible. Observant. Then he lets the rest of us make the mistake. Mia's mouth went dry. Mistake? The woman smiled. Like letting you walk into this warehouse alive. Suddenly, the lights cut out. Screams echoed, distant, metallic, and wrong. Mia ran, folder still clutched in hand, her breath shallow and desperate. Behind her, the woman in red whispered. Now let's see if you're really just a cleaner. The warehouse corridors were longer than they looked. Mia's boots echoed with each frantic step as she ran blindly through the dark, folder pressed to her chest. Somewhere behind her, something heavy fell. Then silence. Then, footsteps. Fast. Precise. Getting closer. She ducked into a storage room, shut the door quietly, and held her breath. Her phone vibrated. One message. Unknown number, keep moving. Trust only what's moving with you. She didn't have time to think. A sharp knock hit the door. Once. Twice. Then a voice, not the woman's. Mia, it's me. Open the door. Please. We don't have time. She didn't recognize the voice. But it sounded scared. Real. Human. Or was it just well rehearsed? She slipped through a narrow ventilation shaft instead. Her hands scraped against metal, her knees bruised, the folder still in her grip. Crawling felt endless, until she fell through, literally, into a brightly lit hallway. This was no warehouse. White walls. Security cameras. Fluorescent light. And down the hall, a receptionist's desk. Empty. Mia stood, brushed dust off her sleeves, and approached. A small screen blinked to life. A familiar face appeared, the man in the overcoat. Mia, he said, calm as ever. You're early. Her fists clenched. What is this place? A test. Before she could scream at the screen, the lights dimmed, and a door beside her clicked open. You passed the first phase, he added. Now let's see if you can survive the second. The door opened into a conference room. 10 people sat around the table. All of them turned when Mia entered. They were dressed like regular office workers, but their expressions, tense, alert, calculating, said otherwise. Mia Vernon, a woman with a tablet, said, not looking up. Congratulations. You're the final candidate. Sit. Mia didn't move. The tablet woman glanced up. Unless you'd prefer to go back to mopping floors. Mia sat. No one told her what she was being tested for. But deep down, she already knew, this had nothing to do with cleaning. And everything to do with something she wasn't supposed to hear at all. 10 pairs of eyes burned into her. Some curious. Some cold. One pair, trembling. A young man, no older than her, avoided eye contact, his fingers twitching under the table. The woman with the tablet continued. This is not an interview. It's elimination. No one blinked. You were all brought here because you noticed something. But noticing isn't enough. Today, you'll be watched, recorded, and, if necessary, removed. Mia's stomach dropped. Lunch is in 30. Try not to bleed before then, the woman added without humor. The room emptied in silence. No introductions. No explanations. A guard handed each of them a keycard and pointed toward a long hallway. Your station. 1 per person. No talking. No questions. Mia's room was bare, a desk, a screen, a blinking red light in the corner. Then, on the screen, live surveillance footage. Not of the city. Not of strangers. But of her own apartment hallway. Her door. Her floor. Her heart stopped. She leaned in. A man walked past her door. Stopped. Turned. Looked directly at the camera. And smiled. The door behind her buzzed. She turned. The young man from the table stood there, pale. "They're watching me too," he whispered. "But mine's not surveillance. It's a message." He held up a piece of paper, trembling. "Get out before 1700 hours. Or she will." "Who?" Mia asked, but he was already gone. A siren wailed through the hallway. Red lights flashed. Doors locked. On her screen, her hallway was now empty. Except for one thing. An envelope. Placed gently at her door. Mia stared, her throat dry, her pulse racing. The red light in the corner blinked faster. Then her screen went black. The screen stayed black. No sound. No explanation. Just her reflection in the dead monitor, eyes wide, breathing fast. She banged on the door. "Hello? Anyone?" Silence. Then, click. The red light in the corner turned green. Her door unlatched. The hallway was empty. No guards. No footsteps. Just a narrow, sterile path stretching in two directions, and no signs to guide her. She turned left. Halfway down the corridor, a side door opened automatically. A room, smaller than the rest. One chair. One table. On it, the envelope from her surveillance feed. She entered slowly. The envelope was unsealed. Inside, 3 photographs. Grainy. Black and white. All of her. But not recent. Years ago. A classroom. A hospital corridor. A street protest she'd never told anyone she attended. And one note, "You've been watched long before you were hired." Her hands trembled. Who took these? Why her? She remembered the man's words, "You listen." But to what? Suddenly, the intercom crackled. "Mia Vernon," the voice said, the woman with the tablet. "Report to sublevel 3. Alone." Sublevel? The elevator was hidden behind a panel at the end of the corridor. No buttons inside, just a key slot. Her card fit. The descent was long. No music. Just a soft mechanical whine, as if the elevator wasn't designed for people. She felt like freight. The doors opened. A single hallway. Dimly lit. Old pipes ran along the ceiling. She stepped forward. And froze. A shadow moved. Then a voice, "I told you not to come back here." It was the young man from earlier. But his face was bruised. Blood on his shirt. He was shaking. "I broke the rule," he whispered. "I tried to help." "What happened to you?" she asked. "They know what you'll do before you do it," he said. "But they don't know why." Then he collapsed. And Mia heard footsteps approaching from the darkness ahead. The boy's head hit the floor with a sickening thud. Mia dropped to her knees beside him. His chest rose. Barely. She wanted to scream for help, but help had never come easy in this place. Footsteps grew louder. She backed against the wall, heart hammering, trying to become invisible. Then, instead of a person, a sound, click. A light bulb above flickered on. Another door cracked open behind her. No voice. No instructions. She stepped inside. The room was not what she expected. It was hers. Her handwriting covered the walls. Dozens of pinned-up notes. Newspaper clippings. Diagrams. Names. Faces. Mia stared in horror. These were her private thoughts. Ideas she'd jotted in secret journals years ago. Dreams she'd scribbled and forgotten. No one knew about them. But here they were, categorized and analyzed like evidence. A photo caught her eye, her as a teenager, standing next to a man she barely remembered. A blurred face. A cafe. And in the corner, a symbol she had drawn as a child, a spiral inside a triangle. How was this possible? She stepped closer and saw, beneath the spiral, a line of text, "Everything she forgets, we remember." Her legs buckled. This wasn't a job. This was a study. Of her. The intercom crackled again. This time, the voice wasn't the woman with the tablet. It was a man. The man in the coat. "Mia. You don't know me. But I've known you since you were 10. She spun around, looking for cameras. "What is this? What do you want from me?" He paused. "We didn't expect you to survive this far. But you left us no choice." A new door opened. A staircase spiraled downward. "Go deeper," the voice said. "The real answers aren't on the surface." Before she could move, a screen lit up. Footage, her mother. In a room. Alive. She hadn't seen her in 7 years. And she had believed, with certainty, that her mother was dead. Mia couldn't breathe. Her mother's face on the screen was older, thinner, but unmistakable. She was alive. Sitting in a gray room, staring into space, lips moving silently. A date flashed on the corner of the feed. Yesterday. Tears welled up, but Mia didn't let them fall. Not here. Not when the walls might be watching. The man's voice returned. "She wasn't supposed to survive either. Just like you." Mia lunged for the screen. "Where is she? Why is she here?" Static. Then another line of text appeared. "One of you goes free. One of you stays." "No," Mia whispered. "No more games." The door to the stairwell clicked again. She looked down the spiral staircase. It was narrow, dark, endless. She stepped toward it, and hesitated. Something in the air shifted. A low hum. A scent. Almonds? A memory hit her like a freight train. She was 9. Crying in a small room. Her mother outside, arguing with 2 men in suits. One of them had a spiral tattoo on his wrist. She had forgotten that day. Until now. Down the staircase, the air got colder. The walls were concrete. Old. This part of the building felt untouched for decades. At the bottom, a heavy metal door. No handle. A scanner blinked. She placed her hand on it without thinking. It hissed open. Inside, a viewing room. 1 chair. 1 speaker. 1 wall of glass, like a 2-way mirror. And behind it, her mother. Unmoving. Eyes closed. Monitored. A woman in scrubs sat beside her, writing something. She didn't acknowledge Mia's arrival. The speaker clicked on. A soft voice, unfamiliar. "If you want her released, answer 1 question. Truthfully." Mia clenched her fists. "Ask. Who told you to keep your head down, all these years?" She froze. That memory again. The market. The factory. Her mother's voice, calm, over and over. "Don't be seen. Don't speak too much. You listen, and you remember. That's how we stay alive." Was that love? Or programming? "You have 10 seconds, the voice said. Mia opened her mouth. But the lights shut off. And from the dark, a second screen flickered on, showing someone else in a different room. It was her. Sitting in a chair. Looking straight into the camera. And smiling. Mia couldn't breathe. Her mother's face on the screen was older, thinner, but unmistakable. She was alive. Sitting in a gray room, staring into space, lips moving silently. A date flashed on the corner of the feed. Yesterday. Tears welled up, but Mia didn't let them fall. Not here. Not when the walls might be watching. The man's voice returned. She wasn't supposed to survive either. Just like you. Mia lunged for the screen. Where is she? Why is she here? Static. Then another line of text appeared. One of you goes free. One of you stays. No, Mia whispered. No more games. The door to the stairwell clicked again. She looked down the spiral staircase. It was narrow, dark, endless. She stepped toward it, and hesitated. Something in the air shifted. A low hum. A scent. Almonds? A memory hit her like a freight train. She was 9. Crying in a small room. Her mother outside, arguing with 2 men in suits. One of them had a spiral tattoo on his wrist. She had forgotten that day. Until now. Down the staircase, the air got colder. The walls were concrete. Old. This part of the building felt untouched for decades. At the bottom, a heavy metal door. No handle. A scanner blinked. She placed her hand on it without thinking. It hissed open. Inside, a viewing room. 1 chair. 1 speaker. 1 wall of glass, like a 2-way mirror. And behind it, her mother. Unmoving. Eyes closed. Monitored. A woman in scrubs sat beside her, writing something. She didn't acknowledge Mia's arrival. The speaker clicked on. A soft voice, unfamiliar. If you want her released, answer 1 question. Truthfully. Mia clenched her fists. Ask. Who told you to keep your head down, all these years? She froze. That memory again. The market. The factory. Her mother's voice, calm, over and over. Don't be seen. Don't speak too much. You listen, and you remember. That's how we stay alive. Was that love? Or programming? You have 10 seconds, the voice said. Mia opened her mouth. But the lights shut off. And from the dark, a second screen flickered on, showing someone else in a different room. It was her. Sitting in a chair. Looking straight into the camera. And smiling. Mia staggered backward from the screen. Her own face stared back at her, alive, composed, too calm. A mirror that wasn't a mirror. Same freckles, same scar on the chin. But the posture, the smile, it was wrong. Too confident. This other version of her sat in a room identical to Mia's, same chair, same glass wall, but behind that glass, no one. No mother. Just shadows. The speaker clicked. The same voice, soft and firm. 2 versions. 1 memory set. 1 reality. Choose which one survives. No, Mia whispered. This is a trick. Everything is a trick until it hurts, the voice replied. The lights above flickered again. Footsteps echoed behind the wall. And suddenly, the door opened. The woman from the earlier rooms, red lipstick, cold eyes, entered with a folder. She placed it silently on the table. Slid it toward Mia. Inside, medical charts. Psych evaluations. Surveillance logs. 1 file labeled. Vernon, M. Subject number 2. Field release candidate. Notes: memory instability detected. Emotional fragmentation probable. Mia looked up. What is this? The woman didn't blink. You were not hired. You were released. Released from what? From us. The woman turned on another screen. This time, video footage. A small room. Hospital-like. Mia, or someone like her, restrained. Screaming. Crying. Repeating phrases over and over. I'm not her. I'm not the cleaner. I'm not the cleaner. The clip cut off. Mia's hands trembled. I don't remember this, she whispered. That's the point, the woman replied. We made you forget. But forgetting makes some people dangerous. Especially the ones who start asking questions again. Silence. Then, you were supposed to blend back in. Quiet. Obedient. But you noticed. And that means you're not stable anymore. Mia's voice cracked. So what happens now? The woman slid a small device across the table. It looked like a key fob. Press this, and your mother walks free. No questions asked. But you stay here. Mia stared. Or, the woman added, you press the red button underneath. Mia flipped the device. There it was, a small red dot, barely visible. And that? She asked. The woman smiled. That ends everything. For both of you. The door closed. And Mia was alone again. With the device. And her own face, still smiling, watching her from the other room. Mia's fingers hovered over the device. One button for freedom. One for annihilation. But which was which? Behind the glass, her mother hadn't moved. Still motionless. Still silent. And on the other screen, the other Mia still stared at her, head slightly tilted, as if waiting to see what the real one would do. But which one was real? The voice returned. 3 minutes remaining. One decision. Mia's mind spun. Why would they show her all this? Why build such a labyrinth only to offer her 2 buttons? Unless neither option was the real one. Unless they weren't testing her obedience anymore, but her defiance. She stood. Her pulse thundered in her ears. The room, the files, the screen, it was all meant to make her feel small. Disposable. Predictable. But what if she wasn't? What if that had always been the flaw in their system? The spiral in the triangle. Everything she forgets, we remember. But maybe, finally, she remembered something they didn't. Mia didn't press either button. Instead, she walked toward the wall of glass. She slammed her palm against it. Nothing. She grabbed the chair, lifted it, and struck the glass. Once. Twice. A third time, and a hairline crack formed. Sirens screamed instantly. The speaker blared, "Stand down. This is your final warning." She didn't stop. A second hit, the crack grew. On the screen, the other Mia stood up. Still smiling. But now, walking toward her own glass wall. They were both smashing. Simultaneously. 2 rooms. 2 versions. Both rebelling. Suddenly, her wall shattered. Gas hissed. Darkness swallowed the room. Her last thought before losing consciousness wasn't about survival. It was about who would wake up. And which of them would be believed. Light. Too bright. Mia's eyelids fluttered. She was lying on something cold. Her wrists ached. Her throat burned. Voices. Muffled. Then clear. She's waking up. Vitals stabilizing. Subject number 2 intact. She resisted both triggers. That changes everything. Her eyes opened. A ceiling. White tiles. A mask hovered over her. Then a woman's face. Unfamiliar, but kind. "You're safe now," the woman said softly. "You passed." Mia sat up. Her body screamed with stiffness. The room looked like a medical facility, but not institutional. Clean. Calm. The screens were gone. No red lights. No watchers. A folder sat at the edge of the bed. She opened it. Inside, a letter. Handwritten. To Mia Vernon, the first to choose her own ending. "You were never meant to follow. You were meant to question. And now, we know, control is no longer enough. Congratulations. You're free. But know this, freedom always comes with a cost. No signature. Just the spiral and the triangle. Beneath the letter, a plain ticket. Her name. A destination she'd never been. A date, today. She stepped outside into daylight. No guards. No fences. Just wind, and the echo of everything she'd been through. Across the street, a woman was waiting. In red lipstick. A familiar coat. She smiled. This time, without menace. "Congratulations," she said. "They never expected you to choose nothing." Mia narrowed her eyes. "And who were they?" The woman only shrugged. "We all play roles, Mia. Yours was just, written in pencil." Mia looked down at her hands. They were steady. "What now?" she asked. The woman tilted her head. "Now? You build something they can't erase." She turned and walked away. Mia stood in the middle of the street, folder in hand, unsure where the road would take her next. But for the first time, the path was hers. And no one, not even the watchers, could predict where it would lead.